Hello, everybody. So I've been receiving a few comments about HIMS, people saying, "Oh, the stock is down," and I really think it doesn't matter over the short run. When I look at the behavior of the stock over the short run, I can see that yes, right now for Q4, after announcing Q4, the stock is down 24%, but actually today the stock is up almost 9%, right? If I go back and look after Q2, the stock went down as low as minus 42%, so that's quite a bit. But if I look at Q1 or Q3, the stock rose by 100% both times, more than 100% both times. And so I believe I believe that looking at patterns, right, over the short term, that's just too hard for me. That's just too complicated to look at where the stock is headed over the short run. If you look at HIMS, and really, I think a lot of the sell-off for HIMS is due to the association of HIMS with a SPAC, right? HIMS was a SPAC, and so you had the initial SPAC, right, trading without HIMS at about $10, and then you had major excitement once people learn that HIMS is going to be part of that SPAC, right, and merge with that SPAC. And then typically, after you have a new issue in the stock market, that stock goes down. But I just want to highlight that it usually doesn't go down that much. This is more of what I would have expected. You have major excitement because the IPO typically gets started higher up, and then you have a pattern way down, and maybe for a year after IPO, maybe a stock is down. But typically it reverses back. But because HIMS introduced through a SPAC and not through an IPO process per se, not through like a brand new issue with a bidding discovery process per se, because it was through a SPAC, we got a very different pattern, right? Because macro started selling off all of these SPACs and started putting them in a bucket of, oh, SPACs are scams, or we're not going to touch scams like SPACs. And so they've been sold off by association. You know, you have some ETFs that own SPACs that have been entirely sold off indiscriminately by association. And I believe that the pattern that you would have had with an IPO, which is usually if a stock goes down, 12 to 18 months, and then the market comes back to its senses and revalues it back up. That pattern that you usually foresee for IPO, I believe, was much more pronounced in the case of HIMS, much more pronounced. But to me, there is no doubt that this is a curvilinear line here. In my view, HIMS is going to get out of this under $10 curse that it has had because of its SPAC association as we slowly get out of a bearish market and we get back into a pivot, right? A Fed pivot and a dovish Fed. I think that's going to happen. I believe it's more important when I analyze a stock like HIMS to look at their revenue and their subscribers. The number of subscribers has passed 1 million. So you have 1 million people who make a recurring payment to HIMS, and the average revenue, right, per subscriber is above $50. And they've had just a stellar revenue growth. In fact, if you look at their revenue growth, it's accelerated. Like, you wouldn't know, but their revenue in full year of 2022 was higher than full year 2021, plus 94%. Revenue has accelerated. Is it going to be just a tad under 94% in 2023? Is it going to be as low as they guided? I don't think it's going to be as low as they guided. But if you look from 2021 to 2022, so they did 94%. From 2020 to 2021, 83%. Then from 2019 to 2020, 80%. And then, of course, the law of smaller numbers would dictate that the numbers were much higher in the early days of the company. But you still have a company who, over the past 5 years, has shown a 110% growth from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So 110% growth. That's pretty impressive to me. And I wanted to do this. I wanted to overlay this stock price, right, and try to kind of match this stock price to the revenues. And so when I match it to the revenues, so we don't know yet what revenues are going to be in 2023, but you wouldn't know that the sales were up 94% in 2022. You wouldn't know that it was up 83% in 2021 when you look at the stock price. When you look at the stock price, you'd think this is a struggling business who has no sales, who the sales are going down, not whose the sales are almost doubling consistently, cumulatively. You wouldn't think that when you look at the stock price. And by the way, it's not just the revenue. It's also things that the market likes, like adjusted EBITDA, which for a company like HIMS is very close to cash flow, right? Their adjusted EBITDA is all the way up, and they're going to be well into positive adjusted EBITDA territory going forward, right? They have no debt. They have a strong cash position. If you look at where they've guided strong cash flows going forward, gross margin in the mid 70s, so 75% gross margin, and they've guided, at least, I like that they underlined at least 1.2 billion in revenue, which, if you look at these growth trajectories and you extrapolate what revenues could be over the next 4 years, it's not going to be that low. I don't think. But in a former video, I calculated using price to sales with their low guide, right? I calculate what if they do poorly, and what if at the end of 2025 we know that they've done $1.2 billion in sales. So what would happen? And feel free to pause on this valuation. But when I apply the same price to sales that we see right now, roughly to the 2025 full year 2025 revenues, I am getting at a 2.82x in 3 years for the company. HIMS, assuming that the price to sales multiple remains the same in 3 years. And so I believe this is an outstanding investment for a 3-year period if they actually achieve that guidance and if the market starts giving it credit. Actually, I believe that if the market starts giving it credit, this company should be trading much closer to a SaaS company and to a SaaS stock and have a higher price to sales multiple, because for a company with that level of growth and for a company with that type of gross margin, right, 75% gross margin, and with that type of revenue, recurring revenue, this is not a high price to sell. This stock is like a SaaS stock, but has nothing to do with SaaS. It's a SaaS stock in healthcare. And, I think it's important to once again look at the fundamentals of a business. HIMS consistently has new products coming. If I scroll down on the HIMS Twitter page, which saw just yesterday, they announced a new shampoo. They have new products coming for all sorts of minor health issues, minor health conditions. They have all sorts of products coming. This is their roadmap, right, with everything that they're trying to introduce over the coming years. They also have international that's coming. If I look at their revenue, the HIMS revenue is sticky and it's growing. It's 90% plus recurring, 75% gross margin, no debt, gave us strong guidance. HIMS as a consumer brand in healthcare, which is something that is entirely new to healthcare. Healthcare analysts, I don't think, are likely to understand what this is. What is a consumer brand? A consumer brand is having treating a patient with customer centricity. It's creating a product. I love this example, by the way. It's creating a product that makes the patient feel okay and more likely to get treated. This is an example of their ED drugs, right? What they did to the ED drugs is they changed their ED drugs from something as scary as say tablets that you get from a pharmaceutical company to something as approachable as a mint, and they are doing that for so many different products. So they're creating a consumer brand in healthcare, which is, I think, something a market has not picked up on. I don't think the market sees that as an opportunity. I see it as a tremendous opportunity. New brands are going to be created. HIMS is a brand play as much as it is a disruption of healthcare play. And I'll conclude with this. In this channel, I focus on stocks that are, kind of a 0 to 1 idea, kind of a stock when a stock is 10 times better than the previous option, right? When a product is 10 times better than what was previously here, that product is going to get adopted without much effort. And that's the case, for example, for electric vehicles or solar. All of these products have a lot of advantages, which makes their adoption much more likely. And I believe HIMS is in a case like that. HIMS is a best cost product. This product is both the best and the cheapest. It's cheaper than insurance in most cases. You have better outcomes, right? More things, as I learned about HIMS, like, for example, their app. Their app is great. Their app will remind you to take your treatment, right? You're more likely to take your treatment because it's more approachable. You can chat with your doctor or your healthcare provider. You can chat with them and ask questions through the HIMS platform. They have much higher customer satisfaction, right? Probably has a lot to do with the way they sell and the way they market the products and the way they treat their customers and the way the app is just a more modern way to communicate with Gen Z, with millennials who want to communicate with an app. They don't want to be on the phone. And lastly, it's quicker, right? It can take as little as 24 hours for something to get shipped, right? And for the more involved treatment, like for example, depression, the max you wait is 48 hours. That's much quicker than a traditional system where it can take months, multiple months, more than 6 months if you don't have a primary care provider for most health insurance. So HIMSS is a product, right, that is cheaper, better, and faster. And when you have a product that is cheaper, better, and faster, it's going to get adopted. That's kind of the main state of business today. A lot of businesses are trying to get into that sweet spot where you have a product that's cheaper, better, and faster. And I think HIMSS has that, and that's why I believe their adoption curve has just started. So I'm happy to own HIMSS. The stock price movements, the short-term stock price movements absolutely do not faze me. Like when I saw this morning, it was up 9%. I'm like, whatever. Like I don't care. I thought it's, I'm not buying HIMSS today. I was buying when it was down. So we'll see how low it goes. But I believe this company has tremendous potential. I've covered it a lot on the channel. So no investment advice. This is just entertainment. I appreciate all of your likes and all of your subscribes. I appreciate if you subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.